The other day, a friend of mine and I were discussing parts of our childhood. Now, we go way back, 43 years or so. It's been a while. And she got into trouble for some things as a kid, and so did I. One of the things that I absolutely loved doing, it was actually one of my favorite activities, was jumping off the roof. Now, it wasn't that high, and I really wasn't worried about getting hurt. I don't think it was any more than maybe 7 or 8 feet off the ground, maybe a little bit more, but nothing big. And it was just pure joy to me. Just climb on the roof and just drop down. It was fun. And a couple of things that kind of relate to the roof is one, I had a brother who was afraid of earthquakes. Now, at the time, I didn't realize how afraid he was of earthquakes. And for whatever reason, that particular day, I decided it would be fun to climb on the roof without anybody's knowledge. And let me say, first of all, my parents were not home because had they been home, I would have been knocked to the moon and back and possibly, back to the moon again. But anyway, I took it upon myself that it would be quite fun to jump up and down on the roof, kind of like a kangaroo, not just in one place, but to, leap from one end of the roof, bum, 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 to the other, twice. And before I knew it, my brother comes jetting out the door. He's just jetting. And he's got, my little brother, who I think was 3 at the time, and he's got the other kid under his arm. He's got this panic look about his face, and he's like freaking out. And I'm like, what is the deal? So I called him, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he looks up and he sees me, and his face, I swear, went three shades of red, and then it went dark, like purple dark. And I don't think he said the word fuck. I don't think so. But he was like, I thought we were having an earthquake. We weren't. We had a Kathy quake. And I didn't really feel bad until he got a hold of me. Then I felt kind of bad. Punches hurt. But looking back, I can see that I terrified him. But looking back, I think I kind of terrified everybody. It was just a Kathy thing. I don't know. So, looking at that, I had told my friend about that. She actually remembered that incident, which was kind of amazing because I think I was maybe 11 at the time. That sounds about right. Maybe 12. But anyway, let me keep going forward. I don't want to regress here. Oh, we got to, I have a brother, I should say, and he was afraid of heights. Now, me, being the lovely sister that I am and the caring person that I am, wanted to help him. I thought it would be a great idea. I mean, after all, when you can help somebody, especially a sibling that's handicapped, you want to do all you can to make sure that they get ahead in life, right? I mean, that's how I saw it anyway. So I decided I would cure him of his fear of heights. What else is a sister to do? I was an older sister. It was my job to help. It was my job to watch him. And if I could help him overcome my fears, then by golly, I would. So I waited till my parents left. I don't even think my older brother was home at that time. And after they had been gone a good 30 minutes or so, to where I thought it was safe anyway. I'm not even sure where they went. They were gone. That's all I cared about. So I got this bright idea that I would cure my brother once and for all. So I went into my parents' bedroom, which they, of course, had locked, but me, being the industrious sort of child that I was, knew how to pick the lock. And so I took my mother's good sheets and her good blankets, and I proceeded to drag them through the house to the front lawn so that my brother would have a soft landing place. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that part. I was going to throw him off the roof. Well, throws a bit strong, push, so that he landed into a cushion. And he would see that it was fun to go off the roof. Just, I don't know, I think maybe he was 8, maybe 9. Just, he was physically and mentally disabled, but I was the caring sister and I was going to help him. That's what sisters do, right? Yeah, I thought so. So anyway, here I am just kind of lugging all this stuff and get it out, set it on the lawn. And then I grab my brother who's going, no, I don't want it. And I'm like, come on, it'll be You'll like it. Really, I promise. So he's like, no, I'm afraid. No. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, don't be a baby. I think it was 10. Yeah, 10 sounds about right. So I haul his butt around to the side of the house because we had a fence that was then connected to a swing set to which you could kind of use like how they had the triangle and they had the bar across. So I hauled him up there onto the fence, and then I made my way across the bar, and within, 15, 20 minutes, I don't even think it's on, maybe 10 minutes, 15, somewhere around there. I had him on top of the roof, and he was freaking the whole time. Let me down. Well, that was the plan. I was going to let him down. No problem. So I was patient, and I was like, close your eyes. This isn't going to hurt. It's fun. Trust me. Seriously, trust me. Like I would hurt him. And, it took a bit of coaxing and cajoling and then, brute force. But I was 10. So anyway, we go up over the top where they've got that pitch on the roof. And I haul him up over there and I say, look, open your eyes. It's really pretty up here. No. Grumbling and thinking what a baby he was, because, I was 10. We had this sort of pitch that would come down, and that's, where it was like, 6, 7 feet, whatever it was. It was taller than me, but if you landed right, you weren't going to break an ankle or anything else, usually. And so, like I said, I made a nice nest so that he would have a soft landing. And keep in mind, okay, and I kind of forgot to mention this little part. I made the nest like right here, but like over here, we had a rose bush. You could kind of connect it to, it kind of was like Audrey and like Little Shop of Horrors, and that it just kind of went all over and you thought he was going to bite you, kind of thing. But I wanted to make sure that I kept him out of the rose bush. So that was going to mean like, a little bit harder of a push because I was old enough to know to jump over that. So, I got him to the edge. I'm like, look, just trust me. It's going to be fun. And, he was still screaming, no. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. But I knew it was going to be fun. So I just kind of, got up behind him and I pushed him. He goes flailing down. And he lands smack right into the soft nest cushion that I made for him. That were my mother's good blankets and sheets that were now grass stained, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, about the time that I pushed him and he landed, my parents drove up the driveway. And my mother, if you have ever seen a stormy look, multiply it. I mean, sometimes there's that stormy look that parents have that kind of looks like a thunderstorm because you hear, their face was like a thundercloud. Oh, hell no. My mother had a hurricane on. And there were a few tornadoes in that hurricane. And, there was a good chance I was a dead duck. Just saying. They weren't supposed to be home for at least another, hour. But that didn't happen. So anyway, they come home as he lands. My mother gets out of that car, puts her hands on her hips. What do you think you're doing? About that time, I jump. And I really meant it in a good way. I'm helping him. He's afraid of heights. I'm helping him. And whoop. Well, tornado hadn't even started yet. That was the first wind. Whoop. But I do remember my reaction. And I'm like, he didn't get hurt. And I'm in my hands on my hips. I made sure he missed the rose bush. I pushed him hard enough. I got grounded for a long time. A really long time. Looking back, that's probably a beating I deserved. I mean, I didn't get caught at some of the other things I did. Like loan sharking. But that was a whole nother story altogether. Besides, I was young. I was in 6th grade. It was really kind of a simple little thing. I really enjoyed money. Now, keep in mind, I was terrible at math. But I was great at making a profit. Back then, you couldn't go to school and have gum. It was not okay. But we had this gas station that was, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way from my house and almost to school. So if you did it right, you could put a penny in and you would get 2 gumballs. Now, that's a risk for me because I am risking detention by taking this gum into, the hallowed halls of our elementary school. So I needed to make it worth my while. It was a quarter per gumball. And that was fair. I mean, I was the one that was going to get detention. Not that, well, I guess they would have been made to throw it away. So I would sell it for a quarter a piece. And I even did loans. So if you didn't have the quarter, it was 50 cents the following day. If you didn't have it the following day, it was $1, and so on and so on. Well, I did it for quite some time, and I made pretty good money for somebody who didn't know math. I sure knew the value of $1 when it came to my pocket. Ultimately, though, some of my classmates began stealing from their parents to pay me off. Now, I never threatened them, ever. I just said pay up or else. That's it. But apparently a couple of parents went to my teacher, who eventually came to me, and I think I got away with this for a year, maybe a little longer, because I think I started in 5th grade. His name was Mr. Bockover, and he came to me and he says, "Miss Meter, I want you to know that the 6th grade is not an induction to the mafia. We will not be having loan sharking in this institution." Now, I didn't know what loan sharking was any more than I knew what the mafia was, but I did understand one thing. My privateering was over. I was shut down, closed out, no more money. I was done for. I had to come up with another creative way to make a few bucks. However, during that period that I made money, I was sitting pretty good, and I was able to afford the finer candies in life and sell those for a bit more too. I understood that candy was the way to life because that's what people wanted, because that's what we couldn't have. So therefore, that's what I brought to school. So as you can see, as I'm sure you have, I was your typical child. That is, I was the typical child that your parents wouldn't let you play with. Something about danger and trouble and chaos and, the typical things that your parents wouldn't let you hang out with somebody for. It's not to say I didn't have any friends. There were a few imaginary ones. And to tell you the truth, they made me look pretty good compared to what they did in my imagination. So, hey, I figure I was, for the most part, I was a basically good kid, as long as you didn't look at some of the things that I did. So, other than that, not much was different from my childhood to other childhoods, in that I never went to jail. I wasn't really caught at a few things, but never mind. That doesn't matter. Anyway, I thought I would just share with you because that came up when I was reminiscing with a friend who actually brought up the fact that she got in trouble for stealing $10 from her mother's wallet to pay me off, but that was such a long time ago, so why bring it up now? But still, it brought back fond memories, and I thought, well, I've got all these friends on Facebook, and I bet they would love to hear, one of my more creative endeavors as a child. And, maybe one or two things that I did that kind of made my childhood a bit more interesting. I would love to hear some of your stories if you have some. Thanks, and I hope you have a wonderful day.